All right, here we go. Saxophone warriors, excel at the basics and practice them until you can execute them flawlessly. So, a new series. I promised you last week I would post one a week. Here we go. I'm going to start with the easiest one first. So, we're going to go from, I think I've isolated maybe five basics that we need to really have under our fingers in our lungs. Anyway, I'm going to start with the easy one first. And why not? It's about repertoire. Number 5, all right, is repertoire. But this is kind of the most fun, and they get harder as we go, so bear with me. What is repertoire? Well, that's a fancy word. Maybe it's French for learning songs. Why would I put learning songs in a series about mastering the basics? Well, because playing songs is what this is all about, is it not? You didn't get one of these just to learn scales, right? Or to learn how to play real fast licks. Well, maybe that excites you. And if it does, this lesson is not for you. This is about repertoire, collecting songs and storing them in your intellectual hopper, as the late newsman Peter Jennings once said. Right? Learning songs. Yeah. And being able to play them, execute them flawlessly, all right? So, no matter what your genre is, whether it's gospel or rock and roll or funk, or jazz, or country, there are websites that will post the songs that you should know, all right? Print those out and then tear them up. I mean, literally, just tear them up and put them in a pile and laugh at them, because the songs that you should know are the songs that mean a lot to you. That you hear a song and you just, I love that song and I want to learn it. That's what my students bring to me. I don't care if it's Careless Whisper, right? You know the one. The sexy sax guy, the careless was, yeah, absolutely. Whatever really, really gets under your skin and that you love, I want you to learn. Learn songs that you love. Now, with this caveat, if you're in an educational, like a program, for example, or you're subscribing to one of those online services, or you're working with a teacher, and the teacher says, hey, you got to learn these songs, right? These are the ones I want you to work on. Because they're skill building in an area that has been determined that you need to go, do those, right? Do those. But also learn songs that you really, really love. Now, what we're going to do today is take apart the method of learning those songs. We're going to break that down, right? I want you to do something a little bit different than the approach that is most commonly advertised in the YouTube circus that we have going here. Right? And YouTube is really valuable. I mean, we've got more people learning to be, better players now, I think, than maybe in my lifetime, because the information is available. This information wasn't available to us as kids years ago, 40, 50 years ago. We didn't have this. We learned by listening. We learned by off the radio. We learned by listening at live shows. We learned by records. Some of you may remember what records are. Okay, but anyway, you've got this great adventure here called YouTube. And I appreciate what everybody is doing on YouTube, but many of the my brain just wandered there for a second. Many of the videos about learning songs break it down to like math and music. Songs are, really not math. Mathematics is something that we're going to use. I'm going to paint the studio, so I'm going to, calculate the cubic square footage here to figure out how much paint I need to buy. That's math, all right? I mean, we assign numbers. We assign numerical values, and we use math kind of in music. Music is about love. Music is love. Music is an expression of art, of your innerness, right? Or something that just satisfies you in a way that math can't. Okay, so again, the basics of learning a song, learning a piece of music are memorize the head, otherwise known as the melody, right? Then we're going to work on the harmony, the chords that the pianist or guitarist or bassist are working from. And we're going to arpeggiate those chords and be able to play those. Or we'll study the root movement, okay? Root movement meaning the root of each chord, the number one, right? Of each chord. We'll memorize that, or we'll arpeggiate the chords so that we can play the changes against a metronome. And voila, we got it, right? No, you have completely missed the boat, all right? Here's what I want you to do. Number 1, the song has got to just be burning. I want to learn this. I love it when my students come to session and they have a song. I got to learn it. I got to hear this and I got to learn it. And we'll learn it by ear, of course. And I want you to do that if you can. If it's at all humanly possible, learn that song by ear first. I mean, if it's on the page, get off the page as soon as you can. Okay. Whatever it takes, get it, commit it to memory, put it inside you. In that way, you are taking in so much musical language, the language of music, right, which is a nonverbal language, and you're learning so much music theory by memorizing a song, right? Because that's what songs are made out of, isn't it? Basically, music theory, right? So you're taking all that stuff in, but before you go there, I want you to find out, why was that song written? Who wrote it? When was it written? What's the vibe of that song? What's the vibe? Is it a happy song? Is it kind of a sad song? I want you to look the words up to that song, right? I used to think All of Me, right, as a jazz standard, was, a happy little ditty until I looked up the words. And it's kind of bittersweet, kind of sad, right? Why not take all of me? Take all of me. It's kind of a song about, in my opinion, maybe it's about being rejected. So there's a whole new thought. This information is going to arm the way that you play those notes that you're going to arpeggiate as you learn how to break down the chords and play the changes, okay? I mean, all of this information is available to you thanks to the interweb, right? You don't have to go to the library anymore. You can actually just sit home and look this stuff up, although libraries are pretty cool. So there you go. This is how you will learn your songs. Now, second, I don't want you to try to learn a song a day, right? Let's take, what's a reasonable amount of time? Like a month, maybe? 30 days, maybe even a little bit more, to study what a song is about, study the background, learn why the song was written, learn the lyrics, study the lyrics. I took a drum seminar once from a guy I really enjoy. I like this kid a lot. He's a good drummer, and he put on a drum seminar in a music store in El Cajon, California, at a music store that no longer exists because, well, that's a whole different story. But anyway, he said, and he knew the words to these Sinatra tunes. He was a rock drummer, but he's telling the audience of other like-minded rock drummers who came to shred, basically, double kick the whole thing. And he's knocking out this Sinatra tune, and I forgot what it was. Maybe Fly Me to the Moon. Let's just say, yeah, that's what it was. Fly Me to the Moon. And he's singing the words and playing along. Fly me to the moon. Ba-ba-ba. And you can't believe how much and how well that informed his playing, right? Well, I've made it a point to learn the words to songs, listen to vocal renditions of the music. I mean, you may not have that option. These songs that you're wanting to learn might not be quite, they might not be quite that developed. Maybe it's something that was written for gaming, right? Online gaming or computer gaming, which is completely valid, right? Don't ever throw that out and say, oh, no, that's just no, blah, blah, blah. No, heck no. There's a lot of really cool melodies, great melodies that are in that. So music is everywhere. Sonny Rollins did it. He recorded country western songs, all right? Look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. Yeah. The great Sonny Rollins recorded, I think, of An Old Cow Hand and stuff like that. And they sound great, right? Yeah, so anything. So my story is I learned how to play saxophone when I was, 10, 11, something like that, school band. Elementary school still had mandatory music programs, and I got an alto sax. It was a Kahn alto sax, one of those shooting star alto saxes, I think made down south from here in Mexico. Not a beautiful horn, but it was, in the day, it was like, wow. I remember marveling at just, like, God, look at this thing. It wasn't this horn, but, the alto is the tenor sax for those of you who are new to the game. And so, yeah, I'm sitting there with this thing and learning how to play these school band songs. And I realized school band is, okay, it's kind of cool. And I'm grateful that it was there because it got me over the hurdle, got me over the hump, got me playing. But what really kicked in it was an after-school project, and I was chosen to meet up with some friends and learn a song for something that was coming up called the 6th grade talent show. Oh boy, we learned a song called Wipeout by the Surfaris. And that started a trend for me of learning how to play a melody by listening to the guitar players. There must have been 5 guitar players in that band. Maybe I exaggerate. I'm prone to it. But anyway, they played the melody and I learned it from them. Okay. So I launched as a rock sax player. Rock and roll at the time was surf music. Later it would change and become more R&B influenced as British acts came over to America. But I was essentially that was what and I learned off the radio, right? We had AM radios. FM wasn't. I'm not even sure FM had been invented then. There were still dinosaurs grazing, and AM radio. And yeah, I remember the just this explosion of sound that came out of San Francisco as FM radio became a force. We started to hear more of the songs that were coming out of San Francisco in longer forms, right? But I will never forget hearing for the first time the Jefferson Airplane. They became the Starship, but in the beginning they were the Jefferson Airplane, and Grace Slick singing a song called Want Somebody to Love. And the guitar solo at the end of that knocked me out. And I mean, I felt pressure, in my chest when I heard that. It's just some hormonal thing that was happening. And it was a song I had to learn, right? So I learned how to play that. I got a guitar somehow, I don't know where it came from. And it was just mystifying. The guitar was too much. I couldn't, too many choices. So I went back to the saxophone. Wonderful thing, the saxophone. We basically, what do we have? 22, 23, 30 keys. I don't know. I should know, wouldn't you think? And you kind of play it by braille. You play it by feel. And I learned that song. I learned the guitar solo on the saxophone. Had to, right? I mean, there was no choice. Next thing was Creedence Clearwater Revival. They came out and they had these songs about, the swamps, the bayous, right? They had never left San Francisco, but they were convincing and they were wonderful. And that guy's voice, right? The guy's voice, the singer in Creedence Clearwater Revival which just blew me out of the water. I mean, I had to play those songs. And so I learned them on the saxophone and I learned to make those kind of growly that as best I could mimic. And that started the whole process. I didn't know from jazz. The jazz didn't exist in my family didn't play jazz. The people in control of the stereo at home didn't play jazz records. So I didn't know anything about that till I got to high school. And there was a quick catching up a period of time to play in the high school jazz band. But that was it. So I learned songs that I loved. I want you to do the same thing, okay? Again, tear up those lists of you should know these songs. Tear them up. Play songs that you absolutely love. I don't care if it's polka. I don't care if Irish folk songs, lullabies. Who cares? Happy birthday. Learn that one. I don't care what it is. Whatever you want, whatever really speaks to you. Let's start working on that. And would you give me some feedback on how it's going? All right. This is number 5 in the lesson of band. This might actually be a little bit out to lunch on the song, this series of perfecting the basics and just nailing the basics of playing saxophone. But I don't think it is. I think knowing songs and repertoire is important. I think that's the end result of why we do all this. So if you've got any questions, or if you want to, keep us up to date on your progress, davegoodsax@gmail.com. All right, I'm into 15 minutes now. I'm burning some time here, aren't I? Well, these are going to be long lessons, so they're going to get longer. All right, so I'll see you next week with the next installment of Perfecting the Basics. All right, thanks for being here. Check you later.